There's a lot of anecdotal advice around on improving your marriage. But if you want something you can really use that will actually make a difference and reignite your marriage, check out the link in the description below.
The question, how do you keep your husband satisfied? Answered by Mex Govain. In his film Annie Hall, Woody Allen charged that a relationship is like a shark. It has to constantly move forward or it dies. I believe he was right. Might help. This is how I saved my marriage. Pete Manoy Medium. With many years and a few kids under your belt, it's easy to let your appearance slide. Think about when you first met your partner. Would you have walked around in stained sweatpants and without brushing your teeth? My guess is, no. I'm not saying you have to look like Julianne Moore every time you settle in for a night of TV. But I've seen too many couples transform from Cliff and Claire Huxtable into Dan and Roseanne Connor with disastrous repercussions. Sometimes my husband will say, "Wow, you look nice," as in walking out the door for a girls' night out. At least pay your spouse the same courtesy you do your friends by fixing yourself up for him or her every once in a while. You've been going on girls' trips for as long as you've been married. Yes, I love traipsing off with my spouse and 3 kids. But these weekends away with friends are also important. Swapping stories with others and enjoying new experiences make me, I hope, a more interesting person for my spouse to be around. When Katie Couric asked Barbra Streisand the secret to her happy 14-year marriage to James Brolin, she replied, "Time apart." It gets romantic because even the conversations on the phone get more romantic. You need some distance, Streisand said. There are many things you should never say to a longtime spouse, the first being, "Don't you think our new neighbor is attractive?" That's a question you just think you want to know the answer to. It's also never a good idea to start a sentence with, "You know, it's always been your problem that." Who wants to hear that from their partner? We hopefully all have a pretty good sense of ourselves at this point, and having someone you love point out a failing in this way does little to engender a loving relationship. You always, or you never, think about it. Neither of these is true. If you start a sentence with these words, your mate is certain to shut down or start a fight. Stop for a minute and think about what you really mean to say, and then say that instead. In life, there are big things and there are little things. The big things: draining the bank accounts to support a gambling habit, forgetting to mention that Hess in the federal witness relocation program, living under a false identity, or that he has a second family stash in Queens, or of course one Y streets to divorce court. But most of us don't have problems of that magnitude. Most of us have problems that are more like petty and repeated annoyances, which when fed the steroids of resentment and anger, balloon up like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we all know what steroids did to his heart, right? Most of our problems start out small enough. He borrows the jumper cables from your car and then leaves them sitting in the driveway just waiting to get run over, and from that sprouts a giant festering sore. It leads you to utter words like, "If you had me, you would have put the jumper cables back in my car so that when I get stuck in a bad neighborhood with a dead battery I could save myself," which, in my household, generally results in a reply like, "When do you ever drive in bad neighborhoods?" It is the small annoyances that, if left unaddressed, do us in. For a happier marriage, address them right away and keep it simple. "Honey, did you put jumper cables back in my car?" Sometimes the best way to address a problem is to just walk away from it, as in seriously let it go. Not every slight must be addressed. Know that not every insult is intended. Practice letting go as much as you can. Forgive more. Forget more. Bite your tongue until the tip bleeds. And once in a while, remind yourself of why you married this person. Focus on those reasons and let stuff pass without mention. Answered by Earl Hazel. A Dr. Buckman Gelage, originally from Iran, wrote a series of books about hydration about 25 years ago. His bestseller, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, Amazon.com, at Buckman Gelage, books, biography, blog, audiobooks, Kindle changed the perspective of what it means to be truly healthy for millions of people. One of the most powerful insights he shared was that basic thirst is not even in the top 10 of the symptoms of dehydration. We can feel fatigue, depression, irritability, even hunger as a product of dehydration long before actual thirst. This opened the door to an even greater paradigm shift. Many diseases for which we look to drugs to cure, or ameliorate the symptoms thereof, are themselves just more complex versions of symptoms of dehydration. This shift in our understanding of disease and what makes a human being human, not just healthy, can change not just individual people but the entire world. Answering the question of how to keep your husband satisfied demands a big, holistic shift in your understanding of men and relationships as deep as the one Dr. B gave the world with his new understanding of water and its role in our very being. To say it is not your job to keep your husband satisfied would be to repeat something you've probably heard a million times from your friends, most of whom are unmarried, and it's the kind of advice that can. Have you become the victim of an affair or suffer in divorce court within 18 months? However, to give you a list of womanly duties and responsibilities straight out of a Mad Men episode, the show about an advertising agency in the American pre-feminist late 50s/early 60s, could be equally destructive. You don't need emotional, off-the-cuff opinions, you need the kind of big answers that can only come from courageously asking big questions. To be instrumental in keeping your husband satisfied, you need to go on a Dr. B/many cries for water-like adventure with him, an existential adventure of discovery, to find out what brings him the greatest satisfaction in life. Is everything pretty much fine with him? And sex with you is his water? Or is there, more likely, a collection of things missing in his life that point to something deeper, something else, such that more or better sex, etc. would only ameliorate a symptom or two, temporarily making something beyond you his water? What does he love, besides you? Who does he love, besides you? Who are his friends? What does he like to do? Where does he like to go? Where did he grow up? How? What did he want to be when he grew up? How does what he wanted to be compare to what he is doing now? Why is there no gap between the two, what he wanted and what he is, or why is there one? Which one of his parents is easier for him to forgive and why? What does he believe? What does he believe in? What does it mean? What does his diet consist of? What is his overall health like? Has he had a medical checkup recently? Is he on any medications that could affect his moods or libido? How are your finances as a couple? What makes them what they are? How does he feel about it? How old is he? Has he reached a milestone making him question himself and who he is? Something that can happen to anyone at any time between age 25 and 95? These and several other questions need to be asked by you, as if you don't know the answers, and you might not, and answered honestly by him, before you can address the what turns him on question, or the how do I make him happy trap. And he'll need to ask them of you. You'll need to ask and answer these questions honestly, and together. To go on this journey, of course, you'll need to prepare, and you'll need a guide. Consider reading the work of John Bradshaw as part of your preparation. Homecoming, Reclaiming and Championing Your Inner Child, John Bradshaw, 8,601,417,141,380, Amazon.com, books. And consider seeking a third neutral party in counseling as a guide. Prepare to rediscover yourself and your husband simultaneously. Expressing that journey sexually and intimately will be just what the doctor ordered. Answer by Diego Marroquin. That's kind of like building a bridge from the USA to Europe over the ocean. My point is that we are so different, and from couples to couples, it all change. There is no formula or magic strategies for such a task. Some people are more satisfied with less while some other people can't be satisfied. But there are some tips that can help to try to achieve that. 1. Ask deep questions about childhood. 2. Get to know more the heart of your spouse. 3. Don't assume because it worked with a friend's husband will work with yours. 4. Ask direct questions. You like this or that, or what would you prefer? If he loves you, he will never ask you more than you can do, and believe me, when there is love, the heart is satisfied.